Yes, it's back. The war on Christmas. Actually, it's never been. It was never really gone. In fact, those of us who have been fighting in the trenches know that the holidays mean Bill O'Reilly and other conservatives essentially getting pissed off and yelling at everybody because Christmas is not Christmassy enough. Most Republicans, though, pretty much ignored this, especially the politicians. That is until Donald Trump and his promise to make us all say Merry Christmas again. Well, of course. So with the Donald Trump victory and the renewed battle in the war on Christmas, public policy polling decided to ask Americans the definitive important question. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays? According to the Huffington Post, the firm asked 1,200 voters whether they preferred Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. Only 9% of Americans preferred the non-denominational greeting versus 45% who prefer a traditional Merry Christmas. And of course, 96% of them just didn't actually care. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting. Now, conservatives talk about how we always like to be offended as liberals at everything, right? So let's break down who's offended by Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas. Now, only 3% of respondents say they'd be personally offended if somebody said Merry Christmas to them. Now, I can't imagine anybody getting offended by that, but okay, whatever. Now, on the other side, 13% said Happy Holidays would be offensive to them. Now, Happy Holidays is the much more inclusive, which, by the way, it includes Christmas. Christmas is a holiday. It's part of Happy Holidays. So if you say Happy Holidays to 13% of people, you might end up offending them, more of them, than if you just said Merry Christmas.
See, I think it's always just a courtesy thing. That's why whenever this whole nonsense would come up, I'm just like, if you know what the person celebrates, say it. If I'm talking to a Christian friend of mine or somebody that at least celebrates the Christmas holiday, I will say Merry Christmas. If I'm talking to somebody that I know is Jewish, I will say Happy Hanukkah. If I don't know, I'll say Happy Holidays. Or if I know that they don't subscribe to any real narrative, but just enjoy the time seeing their family and friends, I'll say Happy Holidays. I mean, to me, that's just common courtesy. Like I just don't like. It's not about being too PC or easily. It's just being nice to your fellow man. Like I'm not gonna assume anything one way or another. So happy holidays.
You just
like that's all it is.
You just assumed they were all men.
You're you're right. Your fellow person. I wasn't.
Talk about PC. I just want
your
PC
fellow person. I was using man. We don't do that anymore. I forgot. That's not it.
I'm just fucking with you, Ron. Just fucking with you on that. Now, look, speaking about being offended, are you going to be surprised who the most offended people are about this whole thing?
White wasps, right? Isn't that it?
Close. Strong conservatives. I guess that fits. Strong conservatives are offended. 21% of them. The next one, you'll be surprised. 20% of Gary Johnson voters. Wait a minute. These are libertarians. These are supposed to be people that are not supposed to care.
Yeah, they're supposed to be live and let live. They're supposed to be let the... Why don't they let the invisible hand decide what we say? Why don't
you know what? I know personally a lot of libertarians that don't give a fuck. So that's really weird. Maybe I know some libertarians that don't represent, that are not part of this 20%, obviously. And that leaves a lot of people. So... as
well, maybe there were some more members of the religious right that voted for him than we realize.
Maybe
because maybe they were so opposed to Trump because he's kind of done some not so okay stuff from a moral standpoint. Maybe they actually paid attention to that, so they were like, well, we can't vote for him. But we certainly can't vote for a Democrat because they're doing the devil's work. So we'll vote for Gary Johnson.
Well, as I'm gonna,
I don't know. I'm just speculating here because most libertarians I know. They couldn't give two shits, about that.
As I'm going to tell you, the people that believe this, that get offended by this, they're actually not representative of most Americans. But let me get to that in a few minutes. Now, 18% of Trump supporters, of course, are most offended by Happy Holidays. And all men, 18%, also offended. Now, these ironically are the same groups of people that tend to say that there's too much PC culture in America. In fact, the folks who complain the most about political correctness are the ones who are most offended by what they see as not being politically correct. In this case, it's kind of hilarious because, again, they like to caricature us liberals as being super offended at everything. I'm not. Like, you can call me whatever the fuck I want. I really don't care. I could care fucking less. Or say whatever. I really don't. As long as you're not, like, being a racist asshole, then I'm going to call you a racist asshole, and then you're going to get offended.
Right, and they get offended by that. Yeah, yeah. You
Right,
call
and
the
then,
alt-right
yeah.
racist, and that's
Oh
not
my
okay.
God.
But
Oh
then
my
they'll go
God.
on about how ultra
I'm
PC
triggered.
everything is.
I'm triggered. I need a safe space. Help me
Right.
out. I'm triggered.
Yeah, and
Yep.
you know what? I've never been hung up on. I mean, I've done a couple conservative talk shows, especially around election time, and like you go on, they know where I'm coming from. It's no big. I mean, look at the shows I'm a regular on here: Stephanie Miller, Jimmy
Yeah.
Dore. Like a couple minutes of internet research, you're gonna know where I'm coming from.
Right.
And I'm ready to have a fun discussion, and spar back and forth a little bit. Maybe it'll get a little heated, but stay civil. That's okay. And I've been hung up on several times, to the point where there were times where I thought it was actually a mistake. Like I thought we just lost the connection because I was like, well, that wasn't really that bad. I'm sure they wouldn't hang, but no, they hung up on me because they didn't like
You were
they didn't
offended.
like the fact that
They
I,
got triggered.
yeah, like
Triggered.
like the fact that I was like, look, your Trump, your buddy Trump's not an outsider at all. He's just the GOP wet dream. You bought snake oil, and then they would just bring up the same couple talking points. They're like, well, Bernie's the establishment bitch, and I'm like, said by somebody who clearly doesn't understand how politics work at
Right.
all. But here's a lesson for you. Here's why he did what he did, and that's actually wrong entirely. You don't have to agree with the guy, but that's just wrong and lazy, and you're just parroting something someone else said. Get an original thought. But yeah, I've been hung up on a couple
Yeah.
times because they need a safe space. They're triggered, and
Safe,
if
safe
you know.
bubble. Nice little bubble. Let's all park ourselves in it.
Let's all park our, so just like we parked ourselves in the suburbs
Yeah.
with only people that look like us.
Now, okay, so let's be fair, right? So I said, 21% of conservatives, people who are very, very conservative, are triggered by happy holidays, right? You say happy holidays to them, their head explodes.
Yeah, it must be nice that their lives are that comfortable that
Well,
they have time to let that bother them.
but what about liberals? What about liberals? There's the other side to this, right? How many liberals are triggered and offended by Merry Christmas? Turns out 10% of those calling themselves very liberal are also triggered by Merry Christmas. I'm kind of sad at that.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. I mean, most people that say that, I mean, yeah, is it kind of. I mean, I think it's just way better to just say happy holidays if you don't know, but I mean, it's not like that's coming from a place of malice or wanting to exclude somebody. It's just a lot of people. Maybe they came up in a place where there's not a lot of diversity, where Christmas is pretty much the main game in town, and that's just what they know.
See,
You know.
but here to that 10%. Let me tell you guys, here's why you shouldn't get offended by Merry Christmas. Because Christmas isn't Christmas anymore. It's a commercial holiday. It's
Yeah,
nothing
it's
more
true.
than a Hallmark corporatized holiday. It's been sanitized. There's no Christ in Christmas anymore. It's not religious. It basically is nothing more than, hey, go and shop. Like, spend a shit ton of money on crap you don't need, but definitely want. Okay? So that's all it is. Why would anybody get offended by that? That's capitalism. I mean, I guess if you're like a hardcore Marxist, then okay, I can see why you could get offended by that current meaning of Christmas. So I don't find a reason to be offended by either of them. And I just think it's comical that anybody could find this innocuous greeting, either way, inclusive or not inclusive, to be
Right.
offensive in any way. And I think I agree with, I should say the majority of the American public actually agrees. In fact, over 80% of Americans are not offended at all by either holiday greeting. and only a third of voters believe that there's a war on Christmas. So basically what this is this whole war on Christmas is being fought by the fringes of the very far left and the far right. So
it's being fought by Fox News. The war, the quote unquote war on Christmas, comes to be every December because Fox News wants to pad their ratings a little bit,
right.
and they know that they have some of their viewers that still give a shit and are still like, "Ah, what are they doing this year?" And they want to tune in to whatever sensationalized piece of bullshit news Fox News has found to make people think there is a conflict that isn't really there.
And it is sort of effective. I mean,
Oh yeah, it works still. I mean,
yeah,
otherwise they would finally stop doing it and move on to some other faux outrage.
yeah, well,
But
they've
you know,
got
they're
plenty.
hanging on.
They've got Tommy Loren, so she is queen of outrage. If anybody can get pissed off about something, it's that girl. But I got one last piece of the poll here. Back in 2012, found that 68% of Republicans believe that there's a war on Christmas. Today, it is 57% of Republicans that say the same. So there you go. There's your numbers in the war on Christmas, brought to you by Fox News.
The one piece of good news, Jeff, the number will be lower next year.
Let's just, I mean, how about how about we just stop being offended? How about people just stop being offended over a fucking holiday greeting?
I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you.
I mean, like,
and I want it to go both ways. I really do.
Yeah,
I want it to
do
go
too.
both ways.
Like, I've got, family members that are very conservative, and one of them explained to me what's going on here. Why they believe that there's this whole thing about Christmas is because, well, they think that Christ has been taken out of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They think that it's not there anymore. No, he's the reason for the season. But you don't understand the history. You're a very religious person, and I respect that, and that's fine. But it's not the reason for the season, because if you look at any sort of history, Jesus was not born on December 25th. We don't even know if he was born at all, if he was an actual real person. So, and there's all these different holiday things, like the tree that you think is associated with Jesus. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's all pagan stuff.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's heavily influenced by pagan rituals. And so it's nothing but Christianity trying to go in and co-opt things for more followers. And that's essentially what it is. And so
totally,
it's nonsensical, this entire thing. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.